You believe that a marriage should be between a man and a woman.
Yes.
But if someone in your family or your office happens to be gay and they invite you to their wedding, would you go?
Yeah, if there's someone that I love that's in my life, I don't necessarily have to agree with their decisions or the decisions they've made to continue to love them and participate in important events. No, I'm a member of the Catholic faith. It teaches that marriages, after you get married the first time, if you've been divorced, you can't be remarried, and yet people attend second marriages all the time. Ultimately, how you treat a person that you care for and love is different from what your opinion is or what your faith teaches marriage should be.
All right, that's, of course, is Marco Rubio answering a question post-speech, post-announcement, but he gave a riveting, stirring speech by many, if not all accounts, during that announcement itself. And I believe Jennifer Rubin, Washington Post columnist, author of the Right Turn blog at the Washington Post, believes that. Jennifer, welcome as always. You wrote one of your many pieces today about Rubio's speech, saying that it's very reminiscent of a political icon.
Yeah, I looked at the speech after I had this nagging sensation that I've kind of heard that phrase and heard those themes before, and I finally figured out. I went back to JFK's inaugural address where he talks about a torch is being passed to a new generation, and there's a lot of language, a lot of the same themes that run through that speech that Rubio used, whether consciously or not, and he certainly is running as a generational change, a generational comment. I thought the clip you just played was really excellent. Republicans tend to complain more than they improve in dealing with the mainstream media. And what you heard there and what you saw there was Rubio very effortlessly responding in a human, compassionate, empathetic way without changing his views on a policy matter. And that's almost a picture-perfect way to answer a question like that. The other Republican candidates should be taking notes.
No, I think you're absolutely right. He handled that, and even though that answer was self-explanatory, the questioner then followed up, but would you go to the wedding? I mean, obviously he said he would go to the wedding, but he answered it the first time. But now Rubio, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to pigeonhole you in any way, shape, or form or put words in your mouth, but you've been a fan of his, and so he had a lot to live up to, I believe, in your mind, maybe, making that speech and the way he's handled the announcement and the aftermath. And I would imagine, based on your piece, that you believe he's done pretty well.
Yeah, I think he has done well. A lot of the candidates are doing well. I was following, I'm not up in New Hampshire, but I was certainly following all their appearances. And you saw Jeb Bush, very loose and easy, I think really for the first time up in New Hampshire. You saw Rick Perry giving another stem winder speech to the New Hampshire Republican Summit up there. And you saw Rubio being able to mix it up with the voters there, mix it up with the press. There are a lot of talented guys in the GOP field, and I think anyone who prognosticates and dices and slices up the electorate before seeing these people in action is making a big mistake. I think campaigns matter a lot, and there are a lot of very talented people in the field.
And this stands in stark contrast to Hillary, who declared she's going to do what she did when she ran for Senate. She's going to meet the people, go on a listening tour. So she drives 1,000 miles in a gas-guzzling $70,000 van and has one staged event, sits down with 6 people, and then hightails it the heck out of there. I mean, what kind of listening tour is that?
It's so painful watching her and listening to her. She's so artificial. She's so stilted. She hasn't done this in years. And at one time I questioned whether Jeb Bush could do this because he hasn't done it in years either. But apparently Jeb has retained his common touch and Hillary has not. Hillary has lived in this cocoon of political privilege and wealth since she was in the White House as First Lady, and she just lacks the human touch. It's almost as if you took all of the potential political skills, 100% of them, in that family, Bill got 100% and Hillary got 0%.
I think that's an accurate read, absolutely. Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham refers to himself, or should I say he has referred to himself, I think at the NRA a week ago he kind of did, and then over the weekend he said those of us who are running, but he hasn't announced yet. You wrote a piece today about 8 things we can learn from Lindsey Graham.
I don't think I think he is going to try to run. I don't think he's probably in anybody's top 5 of likely candidates, but he serves a very useful purpose in the race, and that's sort of a fact checker on national security. He's been doing this for decades now, and he was involved in the first Iraq surge. He's been calling it pretty much right on Iran and on ISIS. So it's very valuable to have someone like that on the stage in debates to sort of call people out when they say outrageous things. He really does have a wide range of experience, and he's also very funny and very amusing. So there are candidates in the race who may not win, but you're really glad that they're there because they add something to the entire experience.
Now, you also wrote a piece today about James Baker. I'm not surprised that James Baker, is out there kind of saying, let's wait and see, we could fix this deal. And you say he's just wrong.
Yeah, I don't think this deal is fixable, not as the president currently has it. And I was proved right today, by the way, when he was asked directly if he would consider a proposal or a resolution in which we automatically lift all of the sanctions up front, and he wouldn't rule out the possibility. So I think that kind of speaks about where he's going. Once you decide that you're going to let the Iranians keep 6,500 centrifuges, you're going to let them keep Fordo. You've already given up the ghost. You're allowing them to keep their nuclear infrastructure, and you can come up with any inspection system in the world. They will still evade it. They will still cheat. The fundamental concession that the president has made is a non-starter, which is we're not going to deny them a nuclear capability. We're simply going to manage it. And that was a fundamental error. You cannot make an agreement that's going to compensate for that fatal flaw. And I think Republicans should be upfront and say, this is a no-go.
Yep.
Do your best, come back in 90 days, but if this is what we're going to be looking at, forget it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, the presidential spokesperson, well, we don't have time to talk about it, but they're just ignoring the terrorist aspect of Iran and everything else. Jennifer, have a great weekend. Great to talk to you.
You too.
All right, read her at the Right Turn blog at the Washington Post. The panel's next.